Please be seated. The ritual of circling represents the delineation of Rebekah and Bilig's own private world within our larger one. They are each other's most trusted partner and the center of each other's lives. They create a strong and unbroken circle from within which they face all else. Bilig and Rebekah stand underneath this huppah, the Jewish wedding canopy, built by Bilig's father in the style of a Mongolian gear, which represents the home they have built together. Today, you have been invited to join them in this transformational moment as they unify their lives, families, and cultures. This structure is open on all sides to remind us of the hospitality of Abraham and Sarah, and of the Mongolian people who opened their homes to all who pass by. It is open to you all of you, your community, whom you love and who supports both of you. Take a moment and look at your people, whom you will lean on through all phases of your life. Along with the loved ones present today, we also remember those who have passed. Great-Grandma Ruth, Grandpa Sandy, Grandma Ginny, Grandpa Tidengurj, Grandma Valia, Uncle Senjargal, Aunt Hope, and Paula. May you build your home in a way that mirrors this gear huppah, which allows you to continue to be open to the people that surround you and to be a shelter against any storm. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Haley. I first met Bilig in 2013 in our final month of college at Virginia Tech, a faraway time in our lives when we still drank lethal concoctions comprised of 7 types of liquor named after inanimate objects like rails and fish bowls. It was over one of these drinks that we learned we had both been accepted into the same post-grad program, Teach for America. But not only that, we would be teaching in the same city. And not only that, we would be teaching in the same school. So we decided, why resist fate? Why don't we live in the same apartment? We trauma bonded through our first 2 years at Leadership Prep Bed-Stuy, the place where eventually all three of us would meet. Becca arrived to LPBS the year after Bilig had departed on his quarter-life millennial crisis. 2 ships passing in the night. From the first day of school, I knew right away Becca was different from the impressionable, do-as-you're-told kind of college graduates our culty school usually hired. Becca would certainly not do as she was told, unless there was a good reason to do so. She was discerning and inquisitive and thoughtful, with a moral code rooted in her deep sense of compassion. My 2 worlds collided when Bilig came back to visit our school. I didn't think anything of his visit until I felt my phone buzz later that afternoon. A text from Bilig. Hey, who is that cute new teacher? Now, there were at least 4 new teachers at our school that year, but I knew right away which cute new teacher he had to be referring to. That could only be Miss Kendall, the bootylicious blonde in room 105.
I didn't say that. That was not the text.
I didn't know her very well yet, but I knew enough to know she was way out of Bilig's league. But I gave him her name and kept it moving. A couple of months later, I invited both of them to my birthday party, which they spent talking to each other and ignoring me, then left early to go to dinner together. I've been holding a grudge for the last 7 years, but today I'll forgive you because it seems like it was worth it. All jokes aside, I want to say some words of gratitude. Bilig, you've been many things to me. For one, you've been my wretched partner in crime, making all my worst drunken antics seem less atrocious when I wake up in the mornings to find your bed empty because you had passed out on the F train again and ridden back and forth between Coney Island and Jamaica Queens all night.
What time?
Well, at least I didn't do that, I'd say in relief, absolving myself of all my own sins from the night before. You've also been my closest confidant and my most radical truth teller, telling me the hardest but most needed things about myself. You've given me the blessing of your friendship and wisdom for over a decade now. And just when I thought I couldn't ask you for anything more, you gave me a friend like Becca. At first, she was my best friend's girlfriend, but at some point over the years, she became my best friend. Instead of calling you for advice, I started calling her. Instead of asking you to dinner, I started asking her. Thank you for falling in love with this woman and bringing her into both of our lives. Becca, I don't quite know where to start with the gratitude I have for you. We've laughed together and taught together and traveled together and cried together. Cried a lot together. In fact, bearing our souls over a box of tissues may just be our favorite thing to do together. That, or absolutely dominating the room in a game of taboo, then getting banned from playing because we verbally abused our partner for holding us back. We don't use corny phrases like twin flames, but if I ever did have one of those, it would be you. You are the closest thing to a sister I have. Being able to call you both my closest friends has and will always be one of the greatest gifts of my life. Now, it would be a lovely rom-com moment for me to stand up here and talk about just the highlights of Bilig and Becca's beautiful love story, of which there are so many. But if you know either of these 2 humans, you know they're not interested in the highlights reel. They want the deeply complex, the rich, the multifaceted. They want to understand the things that break us and shape us and make us who we are. So I'm going to try to do that for them. Becca, Bilig, your journey is a testament to a hard, rarely lived out truth, one that most people never choose to face. That real love takes work. It It's a lesson you've encountered many times throughout your journey. And each time you've come face to face with this difficult truth, you have the choice to run away from it and blame the other. But instead, every time you chose to look inward. And instead of pointing fingers, you chose to ask, what can we do about this together? Each time you made this choice, you were building towards something you couldn't yet see. But the work that you did, the building you were doing, without always knowing what it was for, whether it was worth it, was for this moment. And what you were building bit by bit was a bridge, strong enough to carry you across the scary storms and turbulent waters of life. One day, the time may come as you walk along it, when you doubt that bridge's strength. And when that happens, I want you to remember what it took to build it. Resilience, patience, compromise, and perhaps most importantly, grace. The grace you gave each other, and the grace you learned to give yourselves. You have done the work it takes for the bridge to carry you safely across to the other side. When I look at the two of you, I can see how your love for each other has shaped you and changed you for the better. Your love is that rare, special kind of love that allows you not just to see each other, but to see yourselves. As uncomfortable or as painful as that has been at times, your love revealed the most broken parts of you, and then gave you the space and the courage to heal them in the presence of each other. Bilig, I see the way her love has made you a man unafraid to be his authentic self. I see how her love has given you new eyes to see you and your place in the world, to be proud of the brilliant, deeply caring man that you are, and to truly love him and everything that makes him him. I see how her love has anchored you, allowing you to take root and grow to new heights. Becca, I see the way his love has shown you that being soft is just as powerful as being strong. I see how his love has given you a place to realize that though you've made it this far in life by being sharp and quick and alert, with him you are simply safe to be. People say real love doesn't ask you to change, and I agree, but it does ask you to grow. And the growth I've watched both of you make for and because of each other is something all of us can learn from. Which brings me to my final point. Your love is the kind of love that didn't just make the two of you better. It made all of us here in this room better because of it too. I want everyone here to take a moment to reflect. Who have you met? What have you learned? Or what have you come to believe simply because of who these two people are? I'm certain that if you're here in this room, you already know what those ways are. Becca, Bilig, the love you give each other and the love you've given all of us through it is why we are so honored to be here today to witness your union. We're here to congratulate you, but above all, to thank you.
Throw my mouse away, that was better.
We will now
Man, hold that.
You know what?
Grab that last.
We will now do the blessing over wine. This cup of wine represents where you have come from and honors your memories together, the sweetness of which you share and can always return back to in moments of bitterness.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pri hagafen.
Bilig and Becca have prepared their own vows.
Okay.
Yours first.
Bilig. Okay. When I asked Haley about a decade ago what kind of person she thought I would end up with, the first quality that she mentioned was intelligence. Well, if she's not smart enough, you're gonna lose interest right away, that kind of thing. And she was right. Becca, I have always been struck by your intelligence and the particular ways that your mind works. I'm sure everyone here knows how fast and comical you are, but what I love most about your intelligence is that it is rooted in such compassion and gratitude. There is a deep wisdom and groundedness that anchors the flurry of vibrance and intensity above it. I will always be interested in your perspective and take on life. And I fell in love with you when I understood how open you were to the world, how you thought about yourself and your past, and what you envisioned for your future. Over the last 2,408 days, we've grown tremendously. At the beginning, we fell madly in love on a train back to Brooklyn, and our motto for the first year was, treat yourself, as we basked in a new love and a mountain of takeout. We then signed a very dubious 26-month lease, even though we'd only known each other for 8 months. And in that first tiny apartment, we saw all the layers of each other, and we worked hard to improve. During COVID, in our second apartment that used to be a loading dock, we got to the root of certain issues, and we made big decisions and commitments to each other, and we grew the depth of our love. And over the last few years, in our new home, we have seen and enjoyed the fruits of our labor. I am more the man that I want to be because of you. I'm grateful for the ways that you pushed me to better understand my past and my patterns. You've helped me become lighter, more open, and confident. And I have seen you become more tender, gracious in every way. Working at the same place as your partner might drive a lot of people crazy, but for me, over time, it made me fall more in love with you because I got to see firsthand your growth into such a transformational and loving teacher. Perhaps the thing that I'm most proud of is our communication, which to me feels like a work of art. So much so that, as crazy as it sounds, a small part of me goes into every fight a little bit excited. Because I know that we will surely learn something new or become more nuanced in how we receive and deliver. It has been an amazing ride, and during the entire time, all 344 weeks, we've loved one another. I love you because you speak to every part of me. You can match my inner tub-tubs of age 7, who just wants to be fat and jolly in the sun. You can challenge me as a thinker and a learner. I love debating current events with you as we stress out over an episode of John Oliver. You support our goals of having a healthy lifestyle via your infamously scrumptious salads, kickboxing classes, and forcing me to twist around on that strange Pilates torture device. And most importantly, you match my desire to build a relationship that is intentional and nourishing. I love you because you are the most uplifting presence in my life. Your personality brings out my joy and my gratitude. You've provided a calm space for me to process, to emote, and just be. And being the type that prefers dusty old libraries full of historically significant documents and an air of brooding and philosophizing, how fitting that I find someone like you. Someone who's gonna kick the doors open, make us run outside barefoot into nature so that we can stare at the unusual curvatures of trees and touch soft carpet-like lichen and pick an herb that I've never heard of that I'm probably gonna have to taste with a mild grimace and a quick gulp. And while no one likes being shaken out of their default, I've come to appreciate all of it. That herb, the curve of the trees, the touch of the lichen, and most importantly, you. You are my deepest breath that regrounds, You are the warmth of the sun on my face, and you make me want to jump out of bed every day and carpe the diem with you. When I first started writing these vows, I was a little struck by how my initial answer to what I will promise felt overly simplistic, because the first thing that came to mind was, keep doing what we've been doing. Nothing radically more or different, just incremental and steady growth. But I was able to think of a few clear promises. I promise to keep playing games with you that require speed, even though I know that it is an unwinnable fight, as lopsided as the Mongol invasions of Khwarezmia in 1218. But you deserve nothing more in this life than to feel the glory and dominance of victory, much like Genghis Khan at the height of his power. So I will play my role and lose 1,000 games of Kaboo or sets, or the one where you rip away a stick when you have the right cards. I will be your Khwarezmia. I promise to keep working on my deep jealousy of the fact that you are significantly funnier than me. But I also promise to slowly keep acquiring the crumbs of your comedic genius and timing, to osmosis the various connections and quips, to cook in the corner and tend to my burgeoning craft until one day, just for a single day, I can be funnier than you. Maybe today is this day. Well, whenever it happens, the world shall rejoice. I promise to express intense wonder and marvel, almost to the point of being surprised, when plants in our home and garden do the things that plants do. Namely sprouting, getting a new leaf, changing hues of green that I will definitely notice. You have genuinely grown to appreciate my love for archery, and so I will return the favor in kind by celebrating the arrival of little green babies and the occasional tomato or pepper. Yes. Some abundance. And lastly, I promise to never give up on becoming the best version of myself, so that I can be the partner that you deserve. I will always be there for you. And this thing that we have built is the most important accomplishment of my life. And I will do my best to protect it, to nurture it, and to enjoy it.
You're gonna sing?
Becca, ha'avar shalanu, מלא בזיכרונות נעימים וצמיחה יוצאת דופן. היום אני עומד כאן נדהם מכאנשים שהפכנו להיות. אני מאמין שכעתיד וכמטרה שלי בחיים האלה היא ליצור איתך משפחה יפה ולחנות מהפשטות של חיי היום-יום כשותפים. אני אוהב אותך. Becca, иргэн дурсахад бид хоёрын хайрын түүх нандан дурсамжууд үн цэнтэй сургамжаар дүүрэн байлаа. Би өнөөдөр чиний өмнө зогсохдоо үлдсэн амьдралаа ирээдүйн гэр бүлдээ зориулж аз жаргалтай тайван сайхан амьдрын гэдгээ амлая. Би хайртай шүү чамдаа. Becca, our past is full of fond memories and remarkable growth. Today, I stand here amazed by the people that we've become. I believe that my future and purpose in this life is to create a beautiful family with you and enjoy the simplicities of daily life as partners. I love you.
I know that everybody probably says this, But can you believe that we're here in this moment? 2 seconds in. I can't fully put into words, but I know that when I talk about, okay, first of all, there's a lot of things that are the same, and I think that's maybe a good sign, because we're really on the same page. I can't fully put into words, but I know that when I talk about how far we've come, both of our minds replay movies of our younger selves, who knew each other less and knew ourselves less, from splitting our time between being Mia's third roommate and sleeping sardine style in your twin bed, to then deciding to sign this 26-month lease after knowing each other for 8 months, because it was a good deal and they gave us a month free. And we figured out how to love each other in 600 square feet. And we learned our dance of being roommates, me food shopping and cooking 1 meal a day, you cleaning, fixing, maintaining, and restocking the rest of the house. We figured out how 2 people with very different flavors of introvert live in each other's space. We then got to spread out a bit at Newswalk, but were COVID trapped inside an apartment that had no complete walls between the rooms while working different roles at the same job. Then we moved again and got to make our apartment really feel like a home, and now we're here. I remember back in the early days when we were still strangers in this universe, but we were like 2 long lost souls finding our way back to each other, and meeting you felt more like a reunion. I would lay on your chest and just watch the heartbeat in your neck physically pulse, and that was the first sign maybe that you would be someone whose heart beats outside of you, and who gives so much of yourself to all the people around you. In many ways, we may seem like 2 opposites attracting. We're different in how much we talk, we're different in our culture and the size of our families, we're different in our level of detail when telling stories, and we're vastly different in the size of our derrieres. But what I came to find out quickly was that somehow we're far more alike than we may have thought. My first hint of this was one of the first weeks as we were sitting in your air-conditioned-less apartment and getting to know all the important basics about each other. What kind of music do you listen to? What's your favorite burger spot in the city? Before the momentary lapse in judgment of vegan, but whatever. You know, all the usual things. And I had asked you if you could recommend one book to me, what would it be? Like the book I have to read to understand who you are. And I had suggested to you The Untethered Soul, an exploration of the self through a modern take on Buddhist philosophy that had transformed my thinking while I was living in Thailand. And then you suggested to me your favorite book, Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor. It was a serendipitous moment where I realized that the universe, and also Haley, had brought us together. Here I was recommending a Buddhist philosophy book to a Mongolian Buddhist and a philosophy major, and you recommending to me a book about the purpose of life through the lens of a deeply Jewish experience. This is how it has been since. I've been so lucky to draw closer to you every day, and through that process, to get to know myself so much better as well. I've come to love so much about you, of course more than I could ever put into words, but here are just a few of those things. I love that you laugh out loud to comedy that you watch on your own. I love that anytime we eat something yummy or do something fun, it hardly lands inside you for 5 seconds before you eagerly explode, I want to take my family here, or let's invite our friends over and cook this for them. For you, caring about others is just who you are. It's not something you even have to think to do. I love who you are and who you've grown to be, but more importantly, I love how you grow. I also love who you've helped me grow to be. I love that you're both my greatest comfort, and yet you push me out of my comfort zone as well. I love that while I was away in Mexico and you had gone out with my friends, I had come home to find out that 2 friends had poured their hearts out to you and cried, and that you were also the last man standing, keeping the party going until 5 a.m. Get you a man that can do both. You're wise beyond words, and I feel so lucky to have unfettered access to your compassionate wisdom for the rest of my life. I love our version of No, I Love You More, where I say, here, I saved the last bite for you, and then you take only half the bite and then resave the actual last bite for me. I love how your weird and my weird fit like puzzle pieces. I love how we match in intellect and how you try to match me in my board game savvy. The best part of this whole wedding thing is that I get to marry you. We get to keep figuring this life out together. And through it all, I promise to keep studying you and learning you so I can continue to build my practice of loving you, to continue working to love you not how I would want to be loved, but in the way that you want to be loved. I promise to reflect on our moments of bliss with gratitude, and I promise to reflect on our moments of challenge with a continued desire to grow. I promise to consider you, to be tender in how I care for your heart. I promise to keep saying I miss you even after just moments apart. I promise to try to minimize your anxiety and compromise my incredible comedic storytelling by giving you the punchline first. I promise to keep fighting upwards, to keep growing from each conflict and being grateful for the opportunity to learn more about each other. I promise to keep filling our home with abundant meals if you promise to keep cleaning up after me. I vow to continue to build a life of intention with you, loving each other on purpose, caring for ourselves with thought, and building a family with goals. I promise to keep trying new approaches. I promise to keep failing. I promise to keep learning from those moments and trying again. When I first started to say I love you, I worried that if I overused it, the phrase would lose its potency. I feared it would diminish in value if spread too thinly across utterances. I never wanted our I love yous to turn into just love yous muttered at the ends of phone calls or love you twos parroted in response without thought. Early on, I sprinkled I love yous with intention, but maybe also with frugality. But what I didn't know was that the more I would say it across time, it wouldn't diminish or dwindle, but it would morph with us. New layers would be uncovered, and it would represent so much more. Each of our I love yous began to encompass thousands of moments, little looks, new understandings, far more nuanced feelings. The words have grown to hold it all and have only increased in value over time. And the best part is that I know there will be a million more I love yous that will have a million more meanings that we can't even begin to fathom yet. Like I love you as a husband, or I love you as a deer hunter, or one day I hope to love you as a father and a co-parent. And I can't wait to say each of those I love yous. I love you.
I love you.
You will now exchange rings.
Just this one. Okay, don't drop it. It's okay.
These rings are unbroken circles, symbols of your enduring love for each other. Please say these words and place the ring on the right index finger. With this ring, I vow my love.
With this ring, I vow my love.
Anla Dodi, I am my beloved's.
Anila Dodi, I am my beloved's.
Vidodi Li, and my beloved is mine.
Vidodi Li, and my beloved is mine.
Becca. With this ring, I vow my love.
With this ring, I vow my love.
Anla Dodi, I am my beloved's.
Anila Dodi, I am my beloved's.
Vidodi Li, and my beloved is mine.
Vidodi Li, and my beloved is mine.
I invite the honored guests of Bilig and Becca who are reading the 7 blessings to come line up. These blessings are traditionally said in Hebrew and bestow joy and happiness upon the couple. Today we will hear a personalized rendition of this ancient tradition.
Each of Tahir. Each of Tahir first. Do you want to come up a little bit, baby? Good job. That was right, please. بنستعود خشون.
We bless you with a hearth or fire, which represents the soul of the family, and with added the traditional Mongolian mare's milk, which represents sustenance. We bless you under the eternal blue skies of Tingit with a radiant love that sustains you and your family for many years to come.
May you know it all.
Joy and struggle, laughter and sorrow, companionship and solitude.
Yet through it all we bless your relationship with a spirit of humor and playfulness.
May you find simple joy in the rhythms of daily life.
May you be blessed with community.
May you always be blessed with the awareness that you are an essential part of the circle of family and friends.
May your groups always contain love, trust, and support, and may there be many future occasions for rejoicing in their company.
May you be blessed with the awareness of each other's past, present, and possibilities. When you look into each other's eyes, may you see divinity that inspires awe.
May you also see within each other the child they once were. May that lead to care and tenderness in times of loss.
As Bell Hooks wrote, love is never simply a feeling. Love is an act of will, both an intention and an action. We do not have to love. We choose to love.
We understand love as the will to rupture our own and another spiritual growth.
We bless you with continued growth through an act of loving each other.
May you create a family together that honors traditions, old and new.
May your family be one of communal growth and reflection. May you instill in them the values of lifelong learning and tikkun olam, making the world a better place.
Mom.
Are you gonna say something, Mom?
I'm just concerned about your. That's fine. Just come
Okay, go. Yisimech Elohim K'Ephraim ben Menashe, Simcha Elohim K'Sara Rivka Rachel v'Leah, Yivarecha Adonai v'Yishmarecha, Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'Yihuneka, Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'Yisem lecha Shalom.
By the power vested in me by the state of New York, I now pronounce you husband and wife.
We did it. It's over.
You say there's so much you don't know. You need to go and find yourself. You say you'd rather be alone. think you won't find it tied to someone else. Ooh, said it's true that the growing only happens on your own. They don't know me and you. I don't think you have to leave if to change is what you need. You can change right next to me. When you're high, I'll take the lows. You can ebb and I can flow, and we'll take it slow and grow as we go. Grow as we go. You won't be the only one. I ain't unfinished, I've got so much left to learn. I don't know how this river runs, but I like the company through every twist and turn. Ooh, say it's true that the growing only happens on your own. They don't know me and you. You don't ever have to leave if to change is what you need. You can change right next to me. When you're high, I'll take the lows. You can ebb and I can flow, and we'll take it slow and grow as we go. Grow as we go. Grow as we go. Grow as we go. I don't know who we'll become. I can't promise, it's not written in the stars, but I believe that when it's done, we're gonna see that it was better that we grew up together. Tell me you don't wanna be, 'cause if change is what you need, you can change right next to me. When you're high, I'll take the lows. You can have and I can flow. We'll take it
Hi everyone. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Cannon. I'm Bilig's younger sister. I was hoping to be a little drunker by now, but I just want to start off by saying thank you to Becca's family for an amazing day and for welcoming us at all points of Bilig and Becca's relationship. On our side, I want to give a shout out to the family from Mongolia and England who've traveled far and long to be here. To the rest of my family, thank you for coming on time. So let me tell you all a bit about me and Bilig's relationship. We met back in the 90s. He was so happy to have a sibling. We spent the early years honestly just looking cute and getting along. I was his little shadow. I would wait for him to come home from 6th grade and just face my chair towards the door. He would walk in and I would watch him do random activities like spit paper balls at boxes to make holes in them while I silently sat next to him in awe. One of my fond memories was him building a house out of huge moving boxes and using a very long, thin box for us to crawl through to make sure our parents couldn't enter. What they could do was bring snacks for us through the hole we cut in the main box to watch TV. In writing this speech, I realized a lot of our stories revolved around boxes. Mom, Dad, maybe we could have used some more toys around. But I guess thankfully we grew up as box kids and not iPad kids. When I started kindergarten the next year, I would brag about my brother who just moved to middle school and was the former school president. I thought he was the most creative and cool person in the world. Around the time of the financial crisis of 2008, we entered a crisis of our own. I turned into an evil elementary schooler, and Bilig entered his pretentious nerd high school phase. I, unfortunately, bullied kids with my friends, and we called ourselves the Cheetah Girls. And Bilig would spoke in French when he didn't want us to hear what he was saying. It was the worst of days. He would stay in on Fridays and iron clothes while watching the History Channel. I was always very blunt, while Bilig was sensitive and very, very emotional. It felt as though Bilig was the perfect older sister that I had to live up to. Somehow we endured, and I think him going off to college finally made us reach our best friend stage. Having a brother who's 8 years older is such a blessing. He was like the chill third younger parent. My parents would come to my house to vent. My friends would come to my house to vent about their problems. Not to me, but to my wise brother who always knew the right thing to say. So, given how sensitive and emotional Bilig was, it shouldn't have been a surprise that he was a constant in one thing, being a romantic. His first week of school in America, he came home with a picture of a little girl named Nigella and told my parents he had a girlfriend. At one point in elementary school, he had a toy angel with a cross in our room because the girl he liked was Christian and he was converting. Sorry, I had to. Flash forward a couple of years. I remember it was my first semester at William & Mary. Bilig went AWOL for a bit and then suddenly emerged after a month with a girlfriend. And he was bringing her home next weekend to meet our parents. I booked a train home for one single day just to meet Becca for the first time. When we were all home, Bilig pulled my dad into a room with us and said, "I think I met the one. She's my soulmate." I could have easily shrugged it off, but I knew this time was different. As soon as I met Becca, she joined in the session of my family roasting me when they picked me up from the train station. I would have thought it was too soon and maybe wrote her off, but her joke was funny. Becca immediately showed how spunky, intelligent, kind, and adventurous she was. I never thought I would meet someone my brother would call smarter than himself. It does make playing board games with you both a little insufferable at times. Becca, as I reflected for this speech, I thought of the important roles my family likes to play for Bilig. My dad is a man of few words with some zingers here and there. He loves to listen to everything Bilig has to say, and I see the way that you, Becca, also intently listen and pay attention to what Bilig and your relationship needs. You also listen to Bilig and I's endless conversations about Marvel and Lord of the Rings, so thank you for that. My mom, with Bilig being her obvious and blatant favorite child, Mom, it's okay, I have dad, is Bilig's protector. She would easily lay down her life and help Bilig bury many bodies. Becca, I heard a story about you and Bilig with creepy guys not leaving you both alone as you got ready to fight and Bilig stood behind you as you weaponed a pipe. Becca, you are not someone anyone should want to run into in a dark alley. You will hold your own and protect those you love. And finally, I think some of us know that Bilig can get into his Edgar Allan Poe moods. It felt like for a time I was the only person who could help get him out of his funks, but I've seen how you two grow together and understand how to support each other in times like that. I saw you help Bilig get out of conflicts faster and faster. I am so happy for you both that you found a partner and a best friend who can fulfill all these different needs and is willing to keep learning and improving to foster this beautiful relationship that you've built. Sut, I love you so much. You cannot choose family, but I've always said that I would choose you as my brother 1,000,000 times over. Now you can choose who you marry, and I think all of us can agree, and as Dad has emphasized daily, this is the most important decision of your life, and I can say that there's no better choice for Bilig than Becca.
You want to tell them too?
Hello, everyone. I am Bayar Magnai. I am the proud father of the Bilig. Thank you all for joining us on this special occasion. I would like to start off by extending sincere thank you to Jeffrey and Barbara for raising such a wonderful daughter, Becca. Bilig has brought immense joy into our lives, and we are incredibly proud of the man he became. Especially his passion to Mongolian history. Sada, you are not just great son, but also beloved brother. Watching your journey fills us with pride. And we are filled with the joy as you begin this new chapter with Becca. Becca, we are delighted to welcome you into the actual Bayar circle of trust. You are truly special, strong, loving, and exceptional woman. And we look forward to the beautiful memories and adventures you will share with Bilig. So let's raise the toast. Here's to the newlyweds. Cheers and love and happiness. Thank you. Thank you.
За бүгдээрээ сайн байцгаана уу? Энэ орой мэндийг хүргэе. Ингээд юуны өмнө хоёр хүүхдийн маань хормонд хүрэлцэн ирсэн та бүхэнд их баярлалаа. За Бека маань өнөөдөр албан ёсоор миний охин болж байгаад бид нараас их баяртай байна. Тэгээд ийм сайхан охиныг өсгөж төрүүлсэн ээж аав хоёрт нь бас бид нар их талархаж байна. За өнөөдрийн бидний хормонд алс холоос хүрэлцэн ирсэн миний хайртай ээж, Содогийн эмээн, дүүнэр маань, ах дүүнэр маань ингээд бүгд хүрэлцэн ирсэн байна. Дээрэс нь энэ баяртай өдрийг хуваалцахаар ирсэн найз нөхөд бүх хамаатан садан та бүгдээ их баярлалаа. За Содо миний хөө чи 90 цент хүрээд өөрийнхөө гэсэн амьдралыг эхлүүлж байгаа ээж хоёр нь айгүй баяртай байна. Чи бол өөрөө айгүй мөрөөдмтгий өөрийнхөө итгэлтэй бүх юмыг хийж чаддаг тийм эр хүн болж өссөн ээж хоёр нь чамд аймаар баярлж байна. Чи бит хоёрт би энэ гэр бүлийг авч чаднаа гэдгийг 7 жилийн та хоёрын үерхлийн хугацаанд харуулсан. Тийм болохоор ээж аав хоёр нь чамайг өнөөдөр өөрийн гэсэн өрхөө бариад гэр бүлээ сайхан авч явна гэдэгт үнэхээр итгэлтэй байна. Чиний нэг биений нөгөө тал болсон Бека миний охин манай гэр бүлд орж ирснээс эхлээд одоо 7 жил өнгөрсөн байна. Тэгтээ чи бидэнтэй яг нэг гэр бүлийн хүн шиг бүх юмд сайхан сэтгэлээсээ ханддагт бид нар айгүйх баярлалаа. Тэгээд миний хоёр хүү эрүүлийн аз жаргалтай өнөр өтгөн гэр болж бие биенээ хайрлаж яваарэ гэж ээж аав хоёр нь өрөөж байна. За тэгээд хоёр хүүхдээ сайн сайхан бүхнийг хүсье.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Hi, everyone. I'm Mariah, and it is a privilege to be standing here today as Becca's big sister and maid of honor. As much as my crippling fear of public speaking has made this quite the challenge, there's so much about this girl that needs to be said, in particular, just how much she means to me. And I'm going to pretend the rest of you guys are not here, okay? Most people have to wait years, often well into adulthood, to find their soulmates. But I was lucky enough to have basically been born with mine. Of course, we got to experience our childhood together, but we were also blessed to have journeyed to Miami for college together, traveled the world, and wound up right here in New York City together. From day one, Becca, you've been my constant, my voice of reason and my confidant. You have been my guiding light in some of the darkest times. When my hard exterior turned hurt into anger, you chipped away at it in a way only you could. When it often felt like I had nowhere to turn, I always knew I had you. So much of who I am has been molded by you. Although I can confidently say today that Becca is my favorite person, it wasn't always this way. Becca was born on April 21st, 1993, when I was just shy of 2 years old. And on that day, I was standing in the corner sobbing because I wasn't ready to share the spotlight. I'm still not, by the way. That phase quickly passed when I realized I had my own real-life doll to play with. And so naturally, I often forcefully carted Becca around in a baby doll stroller, which I swear she enjoyed, contrary to popular belief and photographic evidence. A few years later, true to her nature, 2-year-old Becca made her rounds at a family gathering, handing out every last piece of her snack, one by one, and me, true to my nature, discreetly followed right behind, collecting the snacks and doubling my collection. The theme continued across most of our childhood, where I would demand she share half of whatever treat we were both given, since I had finished mine first, or somehow convince her to complete most of my chores. Becca took it all in stride as the dutiful younger sister. She was easygoing, the peacemaker of the family, and she allowed me to abuse my big sister privileges. Until one day she didn't, and I watched this confident woman emerge. So do I take full responsibility for the strong, independent person that you are? Yes, of course. Would you expect anything else? Although I've watched you evolve and grow over the years, one attribute that has been so quintessentially you from the start is your innate empathy. Becca, it is who you are at your core, and it's one of the things I love most about you. You feel so deeply, not just your own feelings, but you share the feelings of those around you. Or in my case, you may feel the feelings for me, like when I would be punished and you'd cry on my behalf. I think it's what has made you such an amazing sister to me. You often know what I need without me even having to say it. When I would lock myself in my room as a kid, you would sit on the other side of the door so that I was never alone. When I had cold fingers and toes while camping out on Machu Picchu, you strip layers off to warm me up. At each one of the zillions of things I've hosted, you show up early to help, often with a homemade quiche in hand. Since I'm not on TikTok, you've perfectly curated my own TikTok feed by texting me daily TikToks that are relevant to my life. Thank you. When I gave birth to Harrison, you were with me every step of the way, knowing when I needed comedic relief, encouragement, or just your calming presence. Just like when we were kids, you still know what I need without me saying a word. I thought I knew the full extent of being loved and supported by Becca until I met Aunt Becca. Of all the versions of Becca I've known, this Becca is the most special to me. The Becca that walks into my apartment without acknowledging me to embrace her niece and nephew. The one who is over around dinner and immediately starts brushing teeth and putting on PJs. The Becca that changes poopy diapers and mid-vomit cups her hands to catch it instead of running away. To say that you've been the best aunt wouldn't quite capture the role you played in our lives these last 3 years. You are such a huge part of the village it takes to raise little humans, and my kids are so fortunate that you are a part of ours. In case anyone was wondering, we've trialed it, and the best way to raise a child is with your own Becca. Get one. It makes all the difference. It often saddens me that I won't be able to show up for you the same way you've shown up for me when you have children. But then I remember that you'll be moving in with me and we are starting a homestead together no matter what you say, okay? Okay. Becca, so many of the things I admire most about you, I always knew would translate into an amazing partnership, and I've been privileged to witness the start of your relationship with Bilig and how it has bloomed over the past 6 years. We've all waited for this day for quite a while, like Bilig, for example, who has basically been ready to marry you since the day you met. Bilig, while we officially welcomed you to the family today, it feels like you've been a part of our family forever. You've grown so much over the years I've known you, in many ways, but most notably, your jokes now land 2 minutes after the punchline instead of a full 5. But in all seriousness, you've entered this loud, mostly chaotic family and have established your place. You've learned that to get a word in, you've got to be quick and a bit louder than the rest. You've learned when to use the blue sponge and when to use the red sponge. And you've learned that by choosing Becca, you've chosen all of us. You've taken your role as Uncle Bilig very seriously, babysitting often, primarily for quality time with my kids. And I'm sure the Soother food delivery has nothing to do with it. By day, you are dedicated to making a difference in the next generation of New York's youth. And by night, you are keeping the city safe one arrow at a time. I didn't know if that would land, but then he talked about archery, like always, but today too. But my favorite thing about you, Bilig, is how you embrace all of my baby sister. You allow her to be her truest, most authentic self. Witnessing your relationship is to know depth and vulnerability, and it has been a true privilege to have watched the growth in your partnership. As I see Becca today, radiant and filled with joy, I know it's all thanks to you and a result of the way you love her. For that and all the many things that make you Bilig, or Uncle Bilig, our clan is so happy to officially have you as a son and a brother. Despite what I would like to believe, I'll admit I don't in fact know everything. But being here right now, this is what I know for certain. I know that you said your vows today with full intention, commitment, and clarity. You know the weight of your promises and all that they encompass. I know these words are the outcome of the work you've put into this relationship, choosing one another repeatedly over the last 6 years. And I know you are going to build a beautiful life together, and I'm so happy you found each other. So to my soulmate, Becca, I love you, and here's to finding yours. Congratulations to the both of you. See you on the homestead. Oh, I love you so much. So happy. That's my mama. Thank you.
I can't see anyone now, so it's okay. Welcome. I have many names. I am Barbara, Brachalea, Leah, Bobby, but my favorite name is Mom. And I'm so happy that Bilig now gets to call me that too. I'm so grateful to be here with all of you who have traveled from near and far, some from very far. We're so grateful to have you all here with us today. So, what's unfortunate for all of us is that Becca is the funny one in our family. And since she couldn't help me write this speech, there will be no jokes. True. Fortunately, there are so many other wonderful things to talk about, like the tremendous love and respect I have for both you, Becca, and Bilig, individually and as a couple. Becca, from the moment you entered this world, you've been this gentle giant, soft-spoken, but with such strength. You are an old soul with an innate goodness and a deep wisdom that continuously blows me away. Because of this innate goodness, it was no surprise to me when Becca informed me she was pursuing a career in teaching. Becca recently shared an example of this in regard to her teaching. This year, she has a student who is very shut down. She has a very difficult family life where she hears many negative messages that she would repeat in school when she wasn't totally withdrawn. Becca has worked with the student, going above and beyond to meet this girl where she was, establish rapport, build trust, and engage her. She would reward her with special time where they would walk and talk together during recess. How brilliant a strategy is that? The school therapist stopped Becca to let her know that he saw what she is doing with this student, and he's amazed at the progress that she has made. Recently, it was this girl's birthday. Becca did something that was against protocol. Becca bought her a present, a t-shirt that says, "You are smart, brave, strong, kind, loved." Becca understood the tricky water she was stepping into, and in her very thoughtful way, she did things to mitigate the potential complications. But nonetheless, she received a visit from her principal. Becca communicated all of her thinking that went into making the decision and all the precautions that she had taken, and she respectfully stood by her decision. Becca, you are smart and brave and strong and kind and loved. The same kind and selfless way of being in the world was also how Becca lived in our home. It was not easy for her growing up the youngest of 3 precocious older siblings. Becca is so compassionate and sensitive that she was like the canary in the coal mine of our family. If anyone was upset, Becca was often the first to cry. I worried about her being such a sensitive child. But what I thought could be a potential vulnerability ended up being her greatest strength and has allowed her to give so much of herself to our family, to her friends, to her students, and especially to you, Bilig. Bilig, over the years, I have seen you become someone that people in our family turn to as well. Impressively learning how to navigate our loud, cross-talking family gatherings and becoming an integral part of our family, playing games with us, traveling with us, and living with us for months at a time during COVID. Through all of these experiences, not only have I come to know you, but I've come to love you deeply. It is with great joy that I fully welcome you into our family. Assuming we are who we are, largely in part because of who raised us, I want to take a moment to acknowledge and thank your wonderful parents, Baigal and Magna. Where are you? Your generous, kind spirit and gifts are always meaningful, especially the Mongolian gear, chuppah, that you lovingly created with your own hands for the ceremony today to symbolize our 2 families and 2 traditions blending into the home that our children are building together. Becca and Bilig, you have worked hard to build a strong foundation in your relationship. You have shown that you have what it takes to weather the ups and downs that are inevitable in life. Having such confidence in your relationship makes it easy to stand here today to bless your union, and I look forward to your bright future. I am grateful that I will have a front row seat to witness your story as it unfolds. Becca, I adore you more than words can say. Bilig, I used to think you are the luckiest man in the world. Now I think we are the luckiest family in the world that we can call you ours. And so I raise my glass and I wish you the most heartfelt mazel tov.
Guys, thanks for coming. This is pretty cool.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Wow, that's loud.
if you got a chance to play the connections game yet on the back of your table number, but we will be referencing the answers, so it's happening.
And also just to say thank you to each of you for being here. Thank you to everyone. Thank you to each of you who took time out of their lives to come and celebrate with us. What a blessing to have family from all over the East Coast, friends from all over the East Coast, as well as all the way from
Jamaica.
Mongolia, Jamaica, England, and the West Coast. And it's great to see many of our friends, some of whom are former Wildcats, Hokies,
Heifers,
Heifers, heifer, a kind of cow, and Hurricanes.
You've all watched our relationship grow in Bushwick, Crown Heights, Prospect Heights, and Clinton Hill. That was another category.
And it's been a whirlwind of planning, and envisioning this beautiful day ever since we got engaged the first time at a beach in Runaway Bay, and then at a second time at a waterfall in Taganic. So let's raise a glass. And cheers to an amazing night. Thank you all for being here. Cheers.
That's all. Talk amongst yourselves.
If I go a million miles away, I'll find a letter each and every day. 'Cause honey, nothing can ever change this love I have for you. Make me weep, and you can make me cry. See me coming, and you can pass me by. But honey, nothing can ever change this love I have for you. Oh, you're the apple of my eye, your cherry pie, and oh, your cake and ice cream, and all your sugar and spice, and everything nice. You're the girl of my dreams. If you wanted to leave me at home when you got back, I'd just say welcome home. 'Cause honey, nothing can ever change this love I have for you. Nothing can ever change the love I have for you. If I go can't ever change this love I had for you. Make me weak, and you can make me cry. See me coming, and you can pass me by. But honey, nothing can ever change this love I had for you. Oh, you're the apple of my eye.